Are you serious? Are you serious? Let's go back to the radio interview last night on Ground Zero Media. The Nimrod technology. I was being interviewed by Clyde Lewis, syndicated radio host across the country in 55, I guess, major markets across the country and the internet. Here we go. This is the Nimrod technology and the CERN. Let's just pick up some more of that interview from last night.
And powers. Apostle Paul talks about that in the epistles. He says, there will be principalities and powers, spiritual wickedness in high places. And a lot of people, when they think of high places, think of just only of governmental places or positions of power, kings, presidents, what have you. But yes, even though those are high governmental powers, there are higher powers, and those would be demonic powers. Satan is the prince of the power of the air. So the fallen ones definitely commune with any human who is willing to open their soul to them. A demon spirit will communicate with any human being that opens the front door, okay? And there's portals you can open. I mean, when you talk about CERN, we can talk about that in a second here, but when you physically, each person, spiritually, you can open a door if you want to let the fallen ones talk to you. They're more than willing to have a conversation and teach you things you don't want to know. On places you don't want to go.
Right. On past broadcasts, Paul, you've talked about in your ministry, you talked about how, and you're very knowledgeable of all the past instances where there have been portals that have opened. I discussed this last night. John D., Ed Kelly, Aleister Crowley, Jack Parsons. Do you know of any others that I'm overlooking?
Well, you hit the best ones. L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah.
He and Jack Parsons were involved in the Babylon workings. They were involved, they got involved in literally calling upon demonic spirits, familiar spirits, spirits of the dead, which would really, all the spirits of the dead is actually Nephilims. The Nephilims, the fallen ones, fallen angels can take on many different identities. They can be called familiar spirits. They can be called, demonic spirits. They can take on many identities. And that's what they did. L. Ron Hubbard, Jack Parsons, following the teachings of Aleister Crowley, and we know what the Nazism things that went on there with the backbreeding and all that. Mm-hmm. They got that knowledge from the fallen ones because they pursued it, yes.
I mean, in World War II, I had this conversation today. In World War II, we learned a lot from Joseph Mengele. We learned a lot about the human body from Joseph Mengele, but at what cost did we learn all this knowledge about the human body? Now, we can say the same about CERN. We learned that they can find the Higgs boson, that they did find the Big Bang particle they're looking for, the God particle they're looking for. Now what are they doing? They're going to power up some more, to open up the portal some more for what? And we have all speculated that it's to have contact with gods with a small g, aliens with a big A, or demons with a huge D. What do you say to that?
Absolutely. But what we've done, the God particle from the CERN, the last time they fired this thing up, they got pretty dangerously close to possibly creating a massive explosion, something that we probably don't even know how. We just don't even understand the total power of God's creation, the creating power, when he spoke things into existence. And I think, man, with the CERN, they got very close. It's blowing my mind that on March 15th, they're going to crank this thing up to they say almost to the max. I'm not so sure they'll even get it that high. I really don't. I think this thing may malfunction. I'm kind of hoping it does without anybody getting injured. I'm really worried about it. Here's why. I'm very concerned that they're going to open portals of hell. Now, in the book of Revelation, it says that an angel with the key to the bottomless pit will open the gates of hell and allow Apollyon and Abaddon to come out of the pits of hell. And I've often thought, well, how does the angel get to the gate? And it may be that they get to the gate through the opening of this CERN.
You know, and I worry about that too because, you know, and I've talked about this before, CERN is short for Cernunnos, the horned one, the god of the underworld. And that can very well mean, you know, Apollyon, of course, the destroyer, Abaddon, the destroyer, Revelation 9, I believe 11 is what that is. Anyway, we'll be back. Keep it here. Don't go away. Revelation 9:11. Look it up. It's frightening. 888-673-3700. We'll be back.
Back to Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis on FM News 101. Everyone is in on the secrets, and big things are being planned. Call Clyde Lewis now. Ground Zero.
PaulBegleyProphecy.com. That's PaulBegleyProphecy.com. The man who is on my YouTube channel saying, "Are you serious?" He can't believe what's going on in the last days, but he's the man who preaches and gives us the information. Paul Begley on the program tonight. So glad to have you on. At the end of the last segment, you were saying something. You wished it would malfunction or something. I'm up for asking everybody to pray to either A, have it not work, or B, have it go safely. I don't know what to do. I'd like to maybe say, please not have it work, but please not while it's in the middle of firing off those huge particles. You know what I'm saying?
Are you serious is what I keep thinking. Why are we turning this thing back on? I mean, it's like opening the hell's doors and looking in and saying, oh, you know, look, if you open the door to the devil, he'll show you things you don't want to know, and he'll take you places you don't want to go. And I think that's part of the problem is the curiosity of man. I mean, think about it. The mighty hunter, Nimrod, he wanted to climb into the heavens, and we want to crawl into the pits of hell. I'm with you. Either malfunction, don't work at all. But if this thing works, if it sings and it doesn't blow up, and here's what I think will happen. Just like in 2012, there were demon entities that were spotted, several accounts of it around Geneva. I even talked to a pastor friend of mine who's really into demonology, and he had several accounts. And he goes around to different locations and talks to people who are victims of ritual abuse, satanic stuff in the underworld, and and some of the secret societies and things. And he said he got several calls and several people who said they've seen demons, devils, really weird, scary things, demonic entities around Geneva for the next week or two after that CERN was turned off. So, crank it up further, open the gates of hell wider? I don't think so, Clyde.
Well, I hope they don't do it, but they say they're going to when they push that button. I don't know how we're going to feel. And even if it does create a quark, a mini quark, or something that may evaporate, it may not evaporate fast enough, go to the center of the earth. We may have hundreds of years or maybe even less to figure out that we may have a wormhole built inside our planet that's sucking us in.
Yeah. Here's the thing. It's very possible. Here's something I've been noticing. I mean, you got all these sinkholes that have been opened up. I mean, everybody can take a look at different things. There's a lot of pressure on the earth from CME.
Oh, those holes in Siberia? Is that what you're talking about? Here's something, and you know that they call that place the gate of the end of the world.
Right, Yamal Peninsula, which means the end of the world. Right?
Yes, it's the end of the world, and that's where those holes are opening, and they're wondering, why are all these holes opening all of a sudden? And I think that it's because of the pressures that have been building up under the planet. We've been firing off CERN.
This is terrible. This is bad timing. It's real bad timing to fire off CERN when we don't even know why we have, it's one thing to have sinkholes. Sinkholes, the ground sucks things down. But these craters in Yamal, they're not sinkholes. Something's coming up out of the earth. It's shooting the ground up. I mean, the dirt piles on the side. And I've heard different explanations. Maybe it's methane gas. Here's the problem. There's no residue. The scientists say, they've already tested. There's no residue at all on the sides of those pits or even on the soil around the ridges. So something's coming out of the earth, but it leaves no residue. It's not ash, it's not lava, it's not methane gas, then what in the world is crawling out of the pits of hell? And so until we figure that out, we don't need to push that CERN button.
So we've got Yamal, got 7 last count holes in the ground, 20 holes around one of them. So there's got 1 hole and 20 around the one of them. Something's coming out of those pits. We don't know what's coming out of them. Something's pushing its way through into this area that no one even touched. It's even God's forgotten about it. Now he's paying attention to it. We've got that going on. We've got CERN ready to fire full throttle. ISIS just destroyed Nimrod today, which I think is very coincidental. Nimrod is the guy that first started and harnessed cosmic energy in the Bible that we know of, and mankind wants to mimic Nimrod by doing the same thing. Would you say that what's going on at ISIS is a satanic ritual? Would you go that far?
Absolutely. I'm glad to hear someone else even ask me that question. These guys are bloodthirsty. They are they're literally reveling in the blood, putting cameras on the end of their guns, and executing, beheading, raping, crucifying, and it's a blood sacrifice, and they're getting power from it.
Folks, that was just a little sample of last night's interview on Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis. He interviewed me. I was on his broadcast, a syndicated broadcast across the many radio stations across the country last night, and on the internet, of course, around the world. If you want to listen to the entire broadcast, I'll put the link in the description below. The Nimrod technology. It's in the Bible. The mighty hunter. He tried to climb into the heavens. God stopped him because God saw he had the technology to do it. Now we're trying to crawl into the pits of hell with the CERN, and they're going to turn that thing on March 15th. Don't miss today's live broadcast. We're going to talk about this and all other current world events. We'll have Mike from around the world with us, hopefully, and just see what else we can find out. We're in the last days. Give your life to Jesus Christ. Men's hearts are on evil continually, as it was in the days of Noah. So shall it be in the coming of the Son of Man. Certainly, we're living in these days.